This video was brought to you in part by the supporters of the AMTV Patreon. Thank you. Hello, and welcome back to the Ident Review, the show where we have a good look and chat about the various television idents that we've come to know and love over the years. And for this instalment, we're heading back to the UKTV Network to look at some of the sequences produced for Gold. UK Gold was a channel that originally launched in late 1992, dedicated to re-airing classic entertainment from the UK's two leading broadcasters, the BBC and ITV. Over the next 15 years, the channel would see several rebrands and different idents, some of which we've covered here on the show. But today, I want to take you back to 2008, a year in which the channel changed its name to simply Gold, becoming an acronym supposedly standing for Go On, Laugh Daily. You see, UKTV Gold had essentially been split in two. The channel W would focus more on the drama programmes, whereas Gold would dedicate itself to comedy, hence the new acronym. As often happens with TV rebrands, new idents came bouncing onto the screen for the newly christened Gold. So let's start there, with the first of these sequences, Plants.
Last of the summer wine in 40 minutes. First though, created for the BBC, chosen by G.O.L.D, someone's been stealing on the inside, in porridge.
Well, there's certainly a lot to look at, isn't there? This ident does cement the shift in tone for the channel, as now comedy is the focus. You want something that is both light-hearted but also very visually appealing. Rather than going for a skit-based sequence, Plants instead opts for bouncy music and several different animations blazing past the eyes of the viewer. I have to admit, despite the overabundance of white that adorns the background, it is contrasted by all the vibrant colours that fill these animations. We can also see that the new slogan, Go On, Laugh Daily, is literally popping up everywhere, even becoming part of the Gold logo itself. Speaking of that logo, despite the rebrand, I do find it a little underwhelming. Especially as the focus of the channel is now comedy, I expected something that at least was a little bit more eye-catching or poppy to fit the theme. But as sequences go, I do enjoy the variety of animations, the catchy music, and the final image that looks like a spiderweb branching out from the Gold logo. It's just fun to pause the video and have a look around at what you can see. We'll see if this becomes the running theme, as we now look to our next ident, Picnic.
Dinner Ladies in 40 minutes. First though, created for the BBC, chosen by G.O.L.D, Compo & Co are checking the Richter scale in more summer wine.
Okay, so we can see a pattern developing. Picnic continues many of the traits that we saw in Plants, the bouncy music, which sounds slightly different this time, and the use of several different animations to glide us through to the final image, which once more is the spiderweb concept stemming from the Gold logo. The picnic element is very brief in the grand scheme of things, as I suppose Plants had been too, and to be honest, whilst I can appreciate the sense of an overarching theme throughout the set, I would have loved for them to feel a little more distinct. If you're really going for a picnic theme, go some lengths to show us a full picnic layout or plants or whatever your concept is. I'm starting to think that the last few of this set will echo what we've seen so far, but hey, I'm willing to be surprised. So let's now move along to Stars.
Tomorrow from 4:40, a double bill from Dibley. Now though, created for the BBC, chosen by G.O.L.D, Baldrick runs for MP in Blackadder III.
This is starting to wear a little thin for me now. Don't get me wrong, the visual style is still gorgeous to look at, but this ultimately feels like a barely edited rehash of what we've seen so far. The titular stars only pop up here and there, and even then they feel more like background elements rather than being the front and centre piece of the sequence. In regard to the music, whilst I do like the bouncy rendition, it would have been nice to hear some completely new arrangements for different idents, but I'm sure this could have been a budgetary or stylistic choice. I don't really have much more to say on this one, and I worry that I won't have a great deal to say on the next one if it continues to be so similar. With that said, let's have a gander at weather.
Dinner Ladies tonight from 7:15. Now though, created for the BBC, chosen by G.O.L.D, there's Double Trouble from Compo & Co. in Last of the Summer Wine.
Okay, I'm a bit more taken with this one. Right off the bat, the new music track selected feels fresh, but also very appropriate for the sequence. And the weather theme that it is named after feels very much like the central image of the ident, rather than feeling like a background throwaway. One thing I've noticed in the set that irks me a little bit is the fact that the continuity announcers refer to the channel as G.O.L.D. Like, I know you've made the channel an acronym now, but you don't need to break it down letter by letter. Why not just refer to it the same way viewers had been doing for the past 15 years? Anyhow, minor grievances aside, I think weather may be my favourite ident of the set so far. We do have one more from the set to look at, though this came later in 2010, when the Go On Laugh Daily slogan was retired for something new. So sit back in your chair and stick something funny on.
Now created for the BBC, chosen by G.O.L.D. Let's hear it for the girls. It's French and Saunders.
A change in slogan, but is there enough change in the ident itself? To some extent, yes. I do love that this one really feels like an unfolding sequence. We see various events occur that spur on the next one, and it all feels interconnected rather than a load of bright and colourful objects flying about with no rhyme or reason. I also like the dynamite finale, which explodes into the gold logo before returning to the spider's web motif. If I'm honest, whilst it was nice to see the first time with the slogan change, it would have been really cool to see a different final image for this one, rather than just resort to a slightly amended version of what they had before. Overall then, for this 2008 batch, whilst the central concept was strong and intriguing, the lack of true variety really keeps these from being instant classics, at least in my opinion. Thinking back to the time, I can see why with the channel split and with comedy becoming the front and centre genre, that G.O.L.D would have wanted a bouncy, colourful rebrand, and in many ways it does work, but I think if you really wanted to carve out this new comedy-themed identity, more effort should have been made to really give these idents a truly distinct feel, as opposed to just slightly amending the base template. These idents would last until 2014, when G.O.L.D rebranded again, dropping the acronym style, and adapting in more random sequences, to say the least. And perhaps we'll take a look at those sometime in the future. And so that brings us to the end of another episode of the Ident Review. If you enjoyed this look back at the G.O.L.D idents, please leave a like, comment your thoughts below, and subscribe to the channel for lots more ident related content. I've been Adam Martyn from AMTV, thank you for joining me, see you next time. Well, that does bring us to the end of another day here on AMTV. We do hope you enjoyed the programme, and a special thank you to our patrons for helping to support the show, and to everyone who's tuned in. Until the next broadcast, we wish you a good night.